All right, hello everyone, and this is Norzibda again, and this is Thank God It's Fixed show, and today we are in episode number 23. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm actually very excited. It's a very exciting day. I don't know why. I'm just my patients all this morning were having great results. They're feeling great. No fatigue, digestive issues are improving, they're exercising more, losing weight, everything is where it needs to be, and everyone is doing great. So that is absolutely something to celebrate. And I'm also, my little preschool guy is dropped off at preschool today, and he didn't cry, he didn't shed a tear. So and I didn't shed any tears too, so that was an awesome morning. So today's episode, let's get to the episode, is about the 7 mistakes that are making diet and lifestyle mistakes that are making you feel bloated. Now, bloating is not maybe fatal, but it's uncomfortable. You don't want to feel it when you want to look nice and feel nice, especially if you want to have an occasion that you want to, or an event that you want to go to. And especially it's painful for, if it gets really bad, it can be painful, and it can mean that you have other issues going on, or more severe or deeper issues with your digestive system, with all of your body. But it depends on how severe it is, and maybe and that could dictate how motivated you are to do things about the bloating issue. So I've been talking about bloating the past few episodes, so I'm going to put the links for the previous episodes in the comments section. But episode 22, we talked about unexpected foods that will make you feel bloated, and unexpected is because many of them are actually foods that are good for you and healthy foods. And then on episode 23, I talked about lactose intolerance and what does that mean, and versus dairy allergy. And that's because dairy foods, and especially lactose containing foods, can cause a lot of bloating issues, and that's one of the common questions that I get. So make sure that if you want to know about the foods that you should eat or that are better for bloating, make sure that you watch that episode first. Now, today's video is about the lifestyle habits, the way you eat and how you eat, and a couple other things that are going to contribute and make you feel bloated. So we just need to make sure that we don't forget about those, because they can definitely have an impact overall. If this is the first time you're watching, my name is Noor Zibde. I am a functional and integrative dietitian, and I help people with digestive disorders such as bloating and others, as well as digestive diseases, conditions, and autoimmune conditions, and thyroid health. And these are all the bloating is something that I more and more common, like often I hear from people as an issue that bothers them about their health. So to get to the first thing that first mistake, or first thing that could be making you feel bloated, is eating too much. Now, I know this common sense, but sometimes people focus on the foods, like should I eat this, should I eat that, and give me a list of what to eat and a list of not to eat. But really, even if the foods that should be okay, if you overeat them more than your body can handle, then you are going to have some bloating. So we want to eat enough. We don't want to eat too much to the point where you're uncomfortable and you're heavy and you can't move. But we also don't want to eat very little, because eating very little is going to make you feel hungry an hour later or 2 hours later, and that's also not that great, because we don't want to end up grazing. And I talked about grazing and how that could contribute to SIBO and other issues, and that was in episode 21, that grazing is bad for you and why is that. So I know it's easier said than done. I know so the first thing that I was discussing is that you're eating too much. And so we want to make sure that, I'm going to kind of repeat really quickly, that we want to eat enough food so that the food and the meal will last you about 3 to 4 hours. And if you eat too much, then it's going to load your digestive system, your digestive capacity. But then if you don't eat enough, they're going to come back and graze in an hour, and that's going to be a problem. And I talked about grazing in episode number 21 and why that isn't so good for you. If you didn't catch the first part of the video, that may have been a different video at this point, in episode 22, I talk about the foods that will make you feel bloated, and many of them are healthy foods. So if you want a list of what to eat and what to avoid, go back to episode number 22. And episode 20, sorry, that was episode 22. And then episode number 23, I talked about the dairy and the lactose and what that means, and how do you determine what you have, because lactose containing foods, and especially dairy, can cause bloating. So first of all, eating enough, but not too much. So you want to eat until you're 80% full. And I know this is not very easy. Sometimes we're very tempted from our environment. Most people, like, and not my opinion, they actually do studies on that. They find that people tend to eat when their plate is finished. There's no more food on the plate. We're programmed to do that, part of a childhood. A lot of us learn that you finish when your plate is there's nothing left on your plate. Some of us, we do that to our kids as well too. So just something, food for thought. And what are we learning, what are we teaching our kids and teaching ourselves? Sometimes we're mindlessly eating because food is there, because we're bored, because it tastes so good, for a variety of reasons. So if you eat too much, then your digestive enzymes are not going to keep up with the amount of food that you're eating, and ultimately this food is going to get fermented by the bacteria in your gut, and you are going to have problems with bloating. Now, if you have questions, if you really want to know more about how much to eat, calories, I really don't get into a lot of that with my patients. I typically say for women, an average meal is about 400 calories if you're the kind of person who likes to track. For men is about 550 maybe, but it really just depends on your exercise and your energy level, so don't really go by calories. That's not simple way to go by that. So really you have to learn how to become more in tune with your internal hunger and satiety signals, and know that there's this, food will always be there, and you don't have to, most people who are watching, you're not in famine, so there are opportunities to eat, and you just have to experiment and see what's a good amount of food that's for you. Now, the second mistake that you're making is that you're eating too quickly. We live in a world where it's so fast. You got to go here from A to B, pick up the kids, do this, get to that email, get to the meeting, everything, traffic, and we're just so fast. At least that's in Northern Virginia where I live. Excuse me. And sometimes you feel like you don't really have time to eat. You got 5 minutes or 10 minutes to eat this plate, or maybe you're on the go in the car, and that just does not allow your body to digest it properly. You're not mechanically breaking down the food, so you got to mechanically break it with your teeth, so it makes it easier for your stomach and for your intestine to handle it. And this like go fast, paced lifestyle, you're just gonna end up eating too quickly. And you know what? Next time you're eating something, measure and count and look at the clock. You really want at least 15 to 20 minutes to eat a meal. You know what? Even if you have to read email or read a book or browse something on your phone, I'm okay with that if that helps you slow down, if that helps you take a little bit more time. But you don't want that meal to extend and stretch to be a 2-hour meal if you're too distracted with whatever you're doing. So 20 minutes, and really chew your food. Like, don't swallow anything until it's really soft and moist and pureed in your mouth. That gives your stomach a huge favor and just makes the stomach's job a lot more easier. Now, the third thing that is you're eating too much fat, salt, and processed foods. So fat, I'm not against fat. Actually, fat is really good for you. But some people, we know that fat slows down how quickly the stomach empties its content. So if you're eating things that are greasy and fried and heavy, and there's a lot of especially salt in it, it's going to retain water. Just the food will sit longer in your stomach, and that is going to make the stomach emptying a little bit slower. The digestion is all going to be slower, and that's going to cause bloating. Now, the fourth thing is to change your drinking habits. And we're not just talking about alcohol here, we're talking about all of your drinking habits. If you don't drink enough water and you're dehydrated, then the body is going to retain more water because it wants to preserve it, and that will make you bloat. If you're drinking too much with your meals, so if you have a large cup of water sitting next to your meal, so water is healthy, it's good for you, but that water is going to dilute your digestive enzymes. And we know after the age of 30, most people start to produce less digestive enzymes. So you add that with more water to dilute it, then you're going to have indigestion, and that can cause bloating. So you want to drink 30 minutes before your meals, or an hour after eating. So this is ideal. If you have to take a medication or supplement, just drink a little bit of water to be able to take your pill, but not like a 16 ounce, and definitely no refills on water while you're eating. I know we do that in restaurants a lot, but don't make that a habit in your day-to-day life. Drinking water with a straw, because as you suction the water up, you're also taking air in, and that air, the air bubbles, can create bloating. Drinking carbonated beverages, so you know that sodas are bad for you, and there's sugar and all that stuff, and the diet stuff is still not even better. But we also know that even carbonated water or frizzy water, even though like there's no sugar in it, it's still, if you're bloated and you're putting that on top of what's going on in your gut, then you're not going to feel good. It's going to make things worse. And alcohol, if you drink alcohol, it slows the stomach emptying. So again, that's another thing, how your drinks can make you feel bloated. Now, the fifth mistake is that you are stuck with raw foods. Now, there is a raw food craze, and if you think that raw vegetables are the only way to go, and then the best way to go, and then you eat everything raw, and you're wondering why cauliflower or broccoli or cabbage or onion are making you feel bloated, or maybe even spinach or kale, it's because you didn't cook it. Now, yes, there are some vitamins and minerals that will be that you won't get as reduced content in some vegetables if you cook them, but we also know that cooking is going to break down the cell walls of plants. And if you're one of the people who are prone to having digestive issues, it may be because you don't have enough digestive enzymes. People with Crohn's, colitis, with IBS, with other these conditions, you actually do benefit from cooking your food. You don't have to let it simmer for hours and loose and become mushy. But just flash saute things. So like cook that spinach a little bit, or the kale, or maybe saute some cabbage if you want a cabbage recipe. I love mixing green and purple cabbage, and if you just saute that for 7 to 10 minutes, you're still going to preserve the nutrients, but also help your body break things down. Maybe blend things if you like to make juices and smoothies. If you make smoothies, it helps with crushing the cell walls, and then maybe that will help you digest it better. And then maybe make soups and stews. So if you don't want to lose the nutrients because they leach in the water, then maybe make a stew that has a lot of the greens or the nutrients in the food, and then just eat that as a soup or stew, or maybe add it to smoothies or something, so that you don't lose the nutrients in the food. So just remember that raw isn't always the only way to go, and it's not always the best way for everyone. So just because you read on a website or a friend is doing it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It might make things worse for you. Now, if you're watching, I haven't been able to monitor the comments. Hi, Elder. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. So if you have comments or anything, just let me know, or if you're give me a thumbs up or thumbs down or anything as you're watching. All right, so we talked about 5 things already. Now, the 6th thing is actually kind of funny, but can be embarrassing as well too, is you're not passing gas. So, and especially maybe women are more guilty of that because we're embarrassed. We don't think it's feminine. I do have a friend who also has a podcast, and she has an episode about farting. So, anyways, then gas is natural. We produce gas. Everyone does. And, maybe it's too much gas can be a problem. And if actually you're interested in that topic, just write me in the comments, hey, talk about gas. When is gas a problem, or when it's not, or when it's natural? I know it doesn't mean you have gas. I know it's a personal, but if you're just curious, it doesn't mean you have it. Just comment and let me know, and I'll do an episode about that. But producing gas is just normal part of how your gut functions, especially when you eat fibers. Now, too much gas can be a problem, but if you're holding it because you're in a meeting, you're in a car with someone, or you're in an event or wedding, whatever that is, and then it's just going to get stuck inside of you and you're going to feel bloated, and that's not healthy. We actually want to release the gas and get the relief from that. And some people might notice that they're burping a lot when they get bloated, so that means your body's trying to get rid of that extra gas, upward, but you can also get rid of it downward. So if you want to know more about gas and when it's a problem and when it's okay, let me know. Write that in the comments. And then the seventh lifestyle habit sort of is that you wear tight clothes. So, you don't have to wear loose, baggy clothes. Absolutely, you can, wear what makes you comfortable. But having tight clothes, especially the, tight pants, where you really have to squeeze yourself to get in, and now you have a muffin top because it's not the right size, because it's too small for you, and you're trying to prove something to yourself or for someone else that you can fit in a size that's not yours, then that's a problem. So all those tight pants, the tight buttons, they're going to put pressure on your abdomen and your intestine, and that's going to make bloating worse and contribute to it. It may not be a root cause, but it's just going to create more discomfort, and it's going to affect the digestion, the motility, and the intestines and their function. So, if you tend to wear, maybe they're, loose from the bottom, but they're really tight on your waist and your stomach area, go size up and just cut that tag. Nobody really is reading. Nobody knows what size clothes you wear, and just be comfortable in your own clothes. And if weight loss is a goal for you, definitely don't abandon that, but you want to be comfortable right now, and then you'll be comfortable in the future as well too, as you reach towards your goals. But yeah, so see if wearing looser clothes is actually can help. And that may mean that you have more things to look at, but it's one way to relieve the bloating and one of the things that you may be doing and making things worse. So here they are, these 7 things, and I can repeat those real quickly in making sure you eat enough, not too much, that you're eating too quickly, that your drinking habits need to change, you're eating too much fat and salt and processed foods, you are stuck with eating raw foods, you're not experimenting with cooking foods enough, you're not passing gas, and you're wearing very tight clothes. And so I'm actually curious to see which one of those are you guilty of, or which one of those are you surprised that you that came up on this list. I will put the other episodes in the comments so that you can get to the other topics, because I've been talking about bloating a lot, but I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, I will come back and answer them anytime later. So thanks for watching. This was Nourition, functional and integrative dietitian and nutritionist, and I specialize in gut and digestive disorders. And make sure you join me next time on the next episode, where I'll be talking a little bit more about bloating from a different perspective. So I'll see you next time. Have a great one.